Welcome to the Mystic Feminine Fertility Podcast, a sacred container for heart-centered conversations about fertility, pregnancy, menstrual cycles, and divine feminine energy. My name is Annalise Yagyajoti, and I'm a fertility awareness educator, a holistic reproductive health practitioner, and a modern mystic. It is my absolute joy and pleasure to host these conversations and share them with you. Hello. Today I am joined with Katya Taras. Healing is an integral part of Katya's life as a breast cancer survivor, a mom, and an avid trail ultra runner. Katya turned to fitness to manage her recovery and then physical healing quest. The mindset work to align the body changed her life. Later, Katya awakened her abilities to help and hold healing space for others. Her name is Katya Taras. She helps women build their body from the ground up using out-of-the-box solutions with the distinct value of aligning the body and mind through a holistic impact, using her perceptive resourcefulness to educate and advocate towards a sustainable fitness and wellness business called Body Strong Vibes. Woohoo! Katya, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Annalise, for inviting me. I'm excited to be part of your own journey and your own new podcast. And you never know where it takes us. So, we women, we have a tendency to, be very competitive, being in that divine masculine. But today we just bring our divine feminine, and I'm all ready for this amazing conversation. So thank you again, and let's start with it.
Amazing. Collaboration, yes. Katya, where are you at in your menstrual cycle?
Yeah, I'm close to 40, so I'm very open about menstrual cycle. I think I'm at the age when I can just talk openly, maybe sometimes too much. And my husband is like, can you just not tell me? But anyway, I'm in the isolation, which is, I feel sometimes a very challenging period of yes.
What are some of the challenges that present to you in the ovulation period?
Of course, there's always been the cramps that kind of signal the change, followed by just retention of water, so you feel heavier. So those are the two things that are always there, and how you deal with them, like how you deal with it. I'm excited that finally, after a couple months, I don't have the cramps like I used to. So that's a huge relief. I mean, it's a testimony of different things that I adjusted in my lifestyle, as discovering more and more of the changes that are happening to your body.
Yeah, the menstrual cycle responds to the shifts and changes. It gives us so much insight into the body. So when you talk about cramping, you have cramping both around ovulation and around your bleed. Is that correct?
Yes. Now it's less around the period time. It's more around ovulation, which is kind of interesting. And and again, it's just kind of realizing and cramping. What I mean is like specific areas. Like I already know. I think you become a pro as you go through your life through it. You're like, wow, the more you tune in with those subtle changes of what's going on, this is where I am. That I know what I need to adjust in my life to help me transition and weather down, and how I can, be gentle with myself and not be frustrated and, trigger other things outside as if, relationship, work, environment, different things that typically have a influence over.
Yeah, all these things that impact us, and then there's like these general things that seem to impact everyone, like food and sleep and relationships, and then you start to find things that impact you individually. Like I know for me, like when I have dairy, it throws off my cycle. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to be eating dairy. Or if I have beef liver, either like in a capsule or if I eat beef liver, the amount of cervical mucus that I make is just phenomenal. I am an abundant spring of cervical mucus when I have enough beef liver. And so the body is such a
Share
bad.
that, I think it's kind of funny because we don't share those like
Mhm.
embarrassing things. I always did, and sometimes I will ask directions from my girlfriends, and I have sisters. I'm the oldest one of four sisters, and I have young sisters, so I just go at them and like, this is how it is.
Yeah.
No shame, and they're like, oh my god, I don't want to hear it. I'm like, you there because that may trigger you to be aware of what's going on with you so you can see the like feel those subtle changes. I totally agree with you on the dairy. It took me a while to understand that dairy is just it's on and off for me, like love relationship. I know when I can eat dairy and I know I cannot eat dairy. I cannot eat dairy at my beginning of the cycle. It throws me off. I'm bloated. I feel like it's just like inflammation overload. I mean, that's and it's kind of funny because it's probiotics and I feel like will give me a good, ease up everything else. Nope. It does the opposite. So yeah.
Yeah, different things impacting you at different phases of the cycle. I love that you have a family with lots of sisters and that you were the one that was like, hey, this is a period and this is the body, and like telling them about these subtle energies, because really so often we're taught, and not just with menstrual cycles and with fertility, but with our bodies in general, we're taught to push past pain and discomfort and to hide things that are embarrassing or taboo, like blood and tampons and cervical mucus. Do you feel like you've always been this open with your body?
No, not at all. As you age, you just kind of open up like an open book. And I think my biggest moment in my life when I opened up was like a book, like I had no choice. I mean, it just hit me. It was when I was diagnosed with the cancer and I need to go through a lot of things. And I'm just like, I don't have any choice. I got to be open because I have not one, not two, five, six people in the room with me, examining me and look at me naked and asking me a bunch of questions and touching me everywhere. So
Yeah.
at that point, I was like, I left everything out the door because I was in this process. I got accepted. So I think that just completely changed my perception. But as growing up, it was taboo. I came from a Eastern Europe where we do not talk about it. When everything is labeled dirty, I come from a religious family that has that background of like, okay, you dirty, you got to stay away, you got to be quiet, all those things. And it's part of how we are taught. It's just like those things. You have it, what's going on with you, we don't want to hear it, do not tell us. I mean, to anything. I grew up without a mom, so that was more challenging. My grandma was the one kind of sharing the information. I had a couple aunts, but to me it hit me like a train because when I was just a teen, I didn't know anything about it. I heard it from like a older girlfriend. She's like, you get this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, you bleed out. Then I started like, I got, okay, let me get in my house and check my mom's drawers. And I start finding stuff. And
Mm.
my mom's like, Mom, what is this box? My mom's like, she just went completely like, yeah, he was like, what are you doing? Why are you going through my stuff? Like, why you always like ask questions? And then she came with this box and she had the moment, she didn't know how to react. Like she did not communicate it. I think because again, it just was the culture of it, like the way she was raised into it. And I was like, okay, I see these boxes everywhere and they're more specific time of the month. So what that girl told me, it's true. So that it was like investigation time to
Yeah.
like hit with it. So that's crazy, but that's real life. That's what I grew up with. So you know how far we came, how far we came.
You had to find a lot of answers on your own.
Yes, yes. And they're not comfortable. They're not comfortable in just asking the question.
Mhm.
Was I mean, it's a lot of stigma and shame around it. Shame around it that like, you be careful, don't tell people, don't tell boys. If you tell boys, something else will happen to you. All those things just kind of like piled and piled and piled. And you get to college and you're like, okay, I'm out of the house. Nobody's telling me what to do, but how I deal with it because it's still my reality. Then you just kind of get a lot of girlfriends, you're in different environments and you start learning more things and girls start sharing things. Okay, this is what's going on with me, this is what's going on with me, then we kind of brainstorm more. So I don't know how your experiences or in your practice and how you coach and educate people. I feel like college years were the worst for me when I was going through my 20s. That's when my period was just off the charts, from pain, discomfort, and everything else. And I couldn't understand why.
Yeah.
It was the stress level, what triggered the entire, but hormones, peak biology, everything else. It was very tough for me. I had very painful periods. I was anemic. I mean,
Yeah.
you name it, possibly I had it, and how you go through it. And yeah, I mean, and that's when you learn to that experience and you go to the doctors and I was like, okay, so you have this, you want a pill, so they'll give you hormonal, they'll give you estrogen, let's regulate, because mine was always irregular, let's regulate, let's do this and let's drink these pills. And I'm like, okay, I'm drinking it, but it doesn't change anything, like really it doesn't do anything. And I think that was the answer when I was going through it, like, let me give you a contraceptive.
Yeah.
So that's part of it, to regulate, that will make you feel better, then whatever else
Mhm.
is packaged.
But you weren't feeling a shift when you took it. You weren't feeling better.
No, no, to me it was horrible. I was asked to kind of advised by the OBG to take it. They gave me a high dosage. I don't know why. I started to have, first of all, I gained weight because that's what estrogen does to you.
Yeah.
I was very moody. I already knew that. And I was trying to convince that this is because of the estrogen. They're like, no, you just it's normal. You just need to adjust to it. So I did it for about 60 days. Then I started having skin rashes. I don't know if you know, but a lot of people get skin rashes, and I
Yeah.
had it all over my body. And I was like, where's this coming from? I'm going to dermatologist. He's like, no, this is fine. This is nothing. It has something related with your hormones. And I went back. I'm like reading on the side effects. Somewhere in those side effects, somewhere deep down was like skin rashes. I'm like, I just flipped. I went back to my OBG. It's like, I'm not taking this. I'm refusing. I'm getting off of it, because not only did I have the skin rash, it was weird. It was more on my leg, my thighs area, which that was very particular. It was right on my thigh area and on my neck area. Those are the two areas, and they will kind of go red and like spread and it was there and very itchy. And I was like, okay, this is not good. So I got off, and they started to, you know, disappear. And I'm like, okay, now I know. Don't take those.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, still to this day, like the vast majority of people who go to their doctor and are saying, I'm having irregular cycles or I'm in a lot of pain, like the number one treatment is hormonal birth control. And hormonal birth control works by shutting down ovulation. Primarily, it tries to stop ovulation from happening. It may also make the cervical mucus thicker. It can make the endometrium, or the lining of the uterus, less thick, so not as easy to implant in. But really, hormonal birth control isn't fixing any of these issues. At best, it's providing a band aid, some time where, like, for the people whose symptoms do clear up, it gives them some time to not be in pain and to work on things from a more holistic lens. But then, yeah, for a vast majority of people, still they're in the same amount or worse pain. You're talking about these skin rashes that showed up, and doctors saying that it's in your head, and like, no.
No, I'm not crazy. And I think that's when you become, and it's funny, that's when you learn to become the health advocate that you got to be for
Absolutely.
yourself. In any, in any health situation you deal with, condition. And for us women, we deal with it every month. I'm sorry to say it, like, people are dismissing it. I'm like, it's just my hormones. I'm like, do you really read a little bit about it and just educate yourself to understand how much is impacting your entire life,
Everything.
how you function, memory, your moods, like what you eat, what are you able to physically achieve throughout the day. I mean, it's mind-blowing to me at this day to meet women my age, and I know that age matters, but like where you at, kind of like you already went through some seasons, you had some childbirth, to be so dismissive of what's going on with them. I like relying on that pill that you mentioned,
Mhm.
that make me feel better for right now, so I don't deal with it. And mind blowing, because I need to share this because I'll forget. Mind blowing. I just got in touch with another OBGYN and just kind of surfacing around. I didn't realize, because when you start premenopause, because I'm in the season of premenopause, let's put it out there. Hi, all premenopause ladies. It's very early for me, and I'm not even going to story why. It has a reason. And I'm going to her, and we're kind of going through a questionnaire and different things. And she's throwing at this. I'm like, apparently you have depression, anxiety. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. Let me hear this. Let me hear this script, one size fits formula, health formula. Um, yeah, you have anxiety, depression. We have this new product that it's antidepressive depressant medication that is offered to premenopausal women. Apparently, the study shows that it releases the premenopausal symptoms, so your mood swings, and apparently balances your hormones. And I'm having a pause. I'm like, this is golden. I'm
Mhm.
like, it's Vixor or whatever. Don't even something with V. And I'm just starting laughing. I'm like, "Are you serious?" She's like, "No, yeah, it's really good. Women are taking it." So I was like, "Wow, how many women right now in my journey are victims of that?" I'm like, just to open a perspective for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's why I have women who rely on different coping mechanisms as they are taking that pill to be artificially. I mean, I don't know if that's functioning, that's surviving, that is surviving daily, being, in this chemical juice that somebody gives you
Yeah.
to become this new version of you or who that, because you losing yourself in it. And that was a huge wake up call. I was like, wow, health advocate, remember who you are, what you wanted to do, going back to what you said. So I need to say that because I know I'll forget it, but for somewhere out there, I think that's a you know something to think about it if they are there and their journey.
There's so little education or preparation for the perimenopause transition, which perimenopause is just the time around menopause, like the 3 to 10 years leading up to menopause, defined as 1 full year without ovulation or a bleed. And so really there's so much secrecy. Like we're just starting to talk about periods, or maybe it's just my realm of work and my circles, but I feel like menopause is still very not talked about, and it's a transition that a lot of women struggle through,
Yep.
because they don't know where to turn to. Hormones start shifting and changing. They're not happy with the advice that their medical doctor is giving them, and there are lots of options. And like truthfully, I can't speak to like what's good and what's bad, but there's these synthetic, almost birth control type pills where you're getting a synthetic version of estrogen or progesterone based on what you need. There's bioidentical hormones, which come from normally pigs or cow urine, not cow, excuse me, horse. There's lots of different sources for like bioidentical hormones. And there's a lot of debate about, is synthetic or bioidentical more supportive? Are these needed at all? What about testosterone? That often gets left out of the picture too, which is huge for mood and memory and muscle building and sex drive and like brain, like all of these hormones, they start to shift and change. And it's my belief that the more that we can understand our bodies and understand what they're trying to tell us, care for our bodies in holistic ways, the better prepared we are for that perimenopause transition.
Totally agree with you. And to me, as a health coach, I've been in this, been fitness since I don't know, I guess before I had my child, which is 15 years, 15 years. But as a fitness coach certified since 2018. And it's amazing because I started to train women 40 and over. And to me, when I was in my time, I was not there yet, and just kind of observing the women, and all of them had the same pattern. Weight gain, it's a thing. Like the mood swings, and the mood swings, like they're obvious. A lot of anxiety off the charts for a lot of
Yes.
women. And I was like, why? I kind of sat back and I needed to like be the professional, then be also the woman who possibly will go through it. And they all kind of like, it's my hormones, and that's it. It's my hormones, period. There's no after it. Like, what action will I take? Do you know about it? And never have I in a conversation, any of the clients that I train, to say, hey, I'm doing this for my hormones. What do you think? And I was like, and it was not always my ignorance, but it was not personally dealing with it. I had a lot of knowledge. So I always will throw like education. It's like, hey, yeah, we know, I'm very particular about like how to train throughout the cycle, what training you got to use for your body. So understanding how your body responds. If you want to build muscle, osteopenia is a big after 35, loss of muscle. how that interacts with the hormonal imbalances and how all the levels are going down. Like this is where it's my season is. I want to become expert for myself and also help other women. And sometimes I'll look at it and I'm like, wow, how can I help? And I felt like I had this invisible wall of like, hey, I'm giving you all the right tools, but something was not clicking. And it took me a while to understand, it's like, what is not clicking? And, I went back into my own, we all do as experts. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. Like I'm not doing something that I was like, I am the expert, but I'm doubting myself. We're going through that imposter syndrome where I'm missing in the picture. And believe me, I'm really good with the vision and picture, but like where I'm missing in the picture. And I realized at that point, it's like, wow, it has nothing to do with all the ingredients that I offer. It has really to do with the lifestyle, which it's a huge piece of what I'm talking about too. In any conversations I have, from clients, potential clients to anything else, friends, family, lifestyle, and the balancing of the lifestyle. Like where's the habits, the habits in what's your mindset, like all those things, and kind of like starting to like really screen your life and see where moving from everything else is a victim mentality, because we all about victimhood, a lot of us are, and we do not want to take responsibility of where we at. And I think hormonal imbalance is one of the things we just ignore it. We just like, we heard about it, we feel the pulse that is there, the root cause, but we'll just like put it in a huge box, shut it down, and let me drink some wine and let me do some pills because that's better for me, because guess what? This will help my hormonal balance, and I'll smile now for 2 hours and I'll be happy, but then I'll be depressed for another 48. And that's what happens with women. They go through those roller coasters of, let me just go out there, dress nicely, have fun, and come back and be for 48 8 hours miserable. Why we women are just so still here in this day, have such a big difficulty to share our real authentic self and say, hey, I do have problems. Hey, how I fix it. Hey, I'm tired to be in the victim mentality. It's my husband's fault, my mom's fault, my dad's fault, my kids, all the pins that are put on the board, but it's not mine. I'm just a victim. I have a health condition, whatever that is, if it's genetic or not. I went through this health huge thing, and this is all the medication I take. This is it. And always the conversation is that, like, what we do, like how we, and I'm sure you in some shape or form you're working on it, how we, the ones that understand that, how we can shift and help women to see the other perspective, to see the other reality of like, it is possible, wake
Mhm.
up. It is possible, wake up. It's a little bit of work, right? Wake up, it's possible. Right.
I think education is so huge, and that I heard that in what you were saying. It's like, people are looking for coping mechanisms because they're in pain, they're confused, they're anxious, they're whatever's showing up. And the coping mechanisms that most of us know are like, let me pretend everything's okay. Let me have a glass of wine or a bottle of wine or tequila or whatever the coping mechanism is.
Whatever it is, yeah. And we're not, no judgment, believe me, I've been there.
Oh yeah,
I,
I still have
there's
coping
no
mechanisms.
judgment. I've been there, I've done it,
Mhm.
and short-term solution. We all know
Yeah.
it's the short-term solutions.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean, that's
Yes.
how we go.
But like knowing that there is even another option, because I think the story that I hear time and time again, no matter what phase of life women are in, is this story of, I'm in pain or I'm confused or I feel like something's off. I
Yeah.
do what is the responsible thing, as we're taught, and I go to my doctor, and my doctor says, here, take this pill, or worse, there's nothing wrong with you. We ran all your labs and you're totally fine. And you're like, but I feel awful. And so when you've already gone to, you know, the medical providers or the people in your life that you expect to have the answers or you've been taught have the answers, and you're not happy with their answers, what are you supposed to do?
And
And
I
you,
think that's the dilemma that a lot of women are into, like, what you're supposed to do.
what are you supposed to do?
I
What are the
can
options?
tell you from my perspective, there's
Yeah.
so many things you can do. Wake up. There's so many things. You should be so excited. There's so many things. Yes, don't suffer in silence. Stop suffering in silence. That's my huge message to everybody. Stop suffering in silence. It's so horrible. It's horrible for you as a mother, as a spouse, as a partner, as anything, as coworker, whatever role you do in your life.
Mhm.
And especially for your kids, if you have kids, they see everything.
Right.
You are lying to yourself if you think your children do not see it because they're too young or whatever's going on. They do. They feel everything because they're so pure, and their receptivity and sensitivity, they see everything. So stop suffering in silence. And that's a huge message. How you change that. And this is when education starts. And
Yeah.
not only just educating yourself, understanding what steps you can take, and there's trial and error. I'm
Yes.
sure
Yes.
like trial and error. I try some things that work for somebody else, and I'm like, no way, this is not me, not work. Move to the next thing, move to the next way. You will find some kind of formula that will work for you. I
Yeah.
promise you, there's no other way. It will if you keep searching. If you give up and go back into your status quo of suffering and silence, that's on you. I mean, it's nothing we can do. That means this is how you want to live your life. And
Mhm.
again, the question comes in, ask women, do you want to live a life suffering in silence? They'll be like, no way to do that. So here you go. The response is there. I do not want to do that. Then how we change that?
Yeah.
Patient mindset, how, offering the tools.
Mhm.
And there are more tools on the market.
So many tools.
Yeah, and they
Many
start to
avenues to explore.
yeah. So what you like when you hear that conversation, how you take it, like education, but like exactly how you navigate that. I'm curious from your perspective.
Well, it depends. For what I do, it always comes back to education about how the menstrual cycle works and how estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone work together in your body. Empowering people to understand how their body's hormone balance or imbalance may show up, and really how to monitor changes on the subtle level. Because I believe that our body sends us communications constantly, but it's a skill to learn how to understand them. And the body will whisper and whisper and then talk and talk. And if it's not being heard, it will begin to yell, and it will manifest as these bigger health conditions or pains or discomforts. And so, my belief, my understanding is that if we learn to listen to the body as a whisper, and for me, the main way that I do that is through menstrual cycle tracking, through paying really close attention to
Here
cervical
you
movement.
go. A simple solution, practical, exercise that you can do. Track your cycle.
Track
So
your cycle.
ask women, hey, how are you doing? The second question should be, where's your cycle? Because then you know how you need to talk to the woman to woman. Like if I know the woman's going for a period right now, I know my conversation with her will be completely different than when she is past ovulation or if she's at the last one. I know this now. This is a huge wisdom that she. Do you think we'll get to the point where we'll normalize that? That's like the second, third. It's like, where's your cycle?
I do.
I think that's amazing. Why would you not do that? Because then you're respecting the other woman, fellow woman, what she's going through, what is going on in her life, because then you understand why she is and how she is currently in that moment. You connect with her on such a deep level because we all have the same cycle, like the same, we're going through the same thing. Of course, we have different physical manifestation, emotional, mental, that's a different story. There's so many of them. I mean, I think it's over 100. Latest to I forgot her name, the Californian chick doctor that has the book Hormones and Diet that talks
Would
about.
it be Varam?
Yes, I think so. And she says it's over 100, and now you have there's more and more women coming online saying, hey, yeah, we should talk about it, and we should educate younger women. They should change their mindset of how they talk about it with their partner and with fellow women. I mean, I think that's amazing. Why should we not?
Yeah, how can we have these conversations? And like you're saying, it creates so much more depth and connection. There have been so many times in my life when I've been, in conversation with someone or working with a client or just out with a friend, and they seem really off, so to say. And I start to think, like, is it me? Then I take a step back and I'm like, where are you at in your cycle? They're like, oh, I'm like deep luteal phase, or I'm about to bleed soon. I'm like, okay, so this isn't me. You're working through your own
Yeah. You see how much
subconscious
you
layer.
eliminated? You see how much you eliminated by just asking that question?
Yeah.
And I think That's funny. I think what I started to do, I talk about my hormones like for the last couple of years as a
Yeah.
fitness. I've been being so open, and women are like looking and they're just kind of shocked. They then at some point they catch up and they're like, okay, I will open up because
Mhm.
everybody has a different comfort level. It takes longer. If you introvert, it takes longer. And besides the hormone imbalance and just talking about where you at, I always talk about like the mirror exercise. Like
Mm.
many times you go in front of the mirror in the morning and say, I'm beautiful, and look at yourself and what you love about your body. Tell me that. So in the questionnaire and the conversation, tell me what you love about your body. What you'll hear the first time, women will pause. Each one of us, like, what do
Mhm.
you mean what I love about my body? I'm like, yeah, what do you love about your body? I'm like, I understand the imperfections, the scars, or whatever you want to fix. What do you love about your body? I mean, let's start there. Let's, and you'll see this. I mean, in my practice, you'll see this huge transformation of women just going through this radical emotional purging when they're like, I don't know what I love about my body. And they just will have the shock. It's like, what do you mean? Like, so then they realize I do not love anything about my body. Then the conversation just, then it goes in this turmoil of, wow, I cannot say that I love myself when I'm beautiful because I do not accept myself for who I am right now. I mean, this is how a deeper level it is. And this is, this is we're projecting that throughout, our reality, what day to day friends, family, people that we encounter. So what we do with it. So again, that goes hand in hand because hormones is just part of our, I guess it's part of who we are as women. I mean, we are the co-creators and we create. So in order to create, we have this mechanism in place to make that possible. And
Exactly.
how we harmonize the mechanism to make us function. And function is a very interesting word because
Mhm.
people think that their surviving is functioning. No,
Mhm.
that surviving is not functioning. Functioning is you being in balance. So let me clear that out
You
again.
feeling good.
Yeah. Functioning means that you are in balance and you are aware of where you at and you understand when you have setbacks. And we do have setbacks, me as well. I am, but I'm aware of that setback. I understand what I can do. I learn, educate myself what I can change the next time around as it comes in. And it's always like when you have a bad period, I'm like, okay. So right now, when I have a bad period, I have a moment, besides going through the physical changes, I have a moment and I take a deep breath. Like, what happened for the last 2 weeks?
Mhm.
Happened as of what stress I had, what impacted, did I sleep well? Talking about sleep. How did I sleep? What did I eat? Those are the three questions I ask myself all the time.
Yep.
So if I have a bad period, something triggered it to get there. Like what did happen? I mean, it's always, renew, rechange, lining things, all that good stuff. But what happened? Then I'll go, it's like, then I'll go and screen my sleep. We have tracking sleep, another tracking device, measurement. You track your cycle, you can track all the other things. If you really want to know, if you really want to take responsibility and move forward, I'm like, hey, yes, I am not in a good place, but I want to be in a good place. I want to move from surviving to thriving. Thriving means functioning. See, word. Okay, let's talk about it. So when people say, my hormones, I'm doing this. You're surviving. Stop. You're not functioning. You are surviving. And surviving means that you're always drowning, and you're never finding the bank to get to it and breathe. Like you are at that level. And that's what's going on with you and how you move forward. And it's very important. I mean, that's one of the things. So sleep, tracking the sleep, like being aware, okay, how did you sleep? You can't work out the next day and do a heavy session or whatever you put yourself mind on if you did not sleep 6 hours at least. And from those 6 hours, at least you had like 1 hour of deep sleep. And again, throwing people out, like, what do you mean deep sleep? What is this? Why sleep is important? I never sleep. I always was a light sleeper. Okay, again, labels. I'm a light sleeper. I always had this problem. Okay, have you ever measured to understand why you sleep this way?
Mhm.
Yeah. Going deeper and deeper,
When you
researching.
say measuring sleep, are you talking about like the Aura ring or?
So there's different devices. Oura is one of them. I use the Apple Watch. There are more and more devices you can do it. And they're inexpensive right now on the market that you can just measure. Use it on and if you feel not comfortable having those devices, at least if you use it for a month, it gives you some insight of what's going on with you. So this is what health advocate is. You don't need to go depend on your doctor, where your doctor tells the same script to another 100 something thousands of patients. You can start with my subject. I'm the patient. I
Mhm.
am my own doctor.
Mhm.
Let's figure this out. And nothing wrong with it. Nothing, nobody tells you that you're not allowed to do this. That's empowerment. That's you taking charge of your health, of your well being. That's you being you. And in the same time, taking care of your hormones,
Mhm.
right? How simple is that?
Yeah. Make it simple. Let it be simple.
Yes. Yeah. And then even then you have sleep, of course, then you have stress level, like big changes in life. Some people move, a loss in the family, kids situations, those things can impact us. And without us knowing, because they're external stress, we feel we're just always under pressure, cortisol level, maybe in all different charts there and values, but we kind of cope with it, but we never process the stress, and the stress lingers on our body. And that's what it manifests through, through that heavy period, whatever that is. Then it's the food. Again, what is your nutrition? Fuel. What's your food fuel? Nutrition. I don't like to call it diet. I know diet is such overrated. Let's move on from diet of nutrition. Like what whole foods? What did you eat? Did you hydrate? How much protein you had, where's your, do you supplement? I mean, a lot of people, I don't know if you're familiar, a lot of women are kind of staying away from supplements because they think supplements is for bodybuilders and supplements is for this. I'm like, wait, no. Have you listened to other nutritionists? Have you look at a latest trends? Like, you got to supplement. I'm not saying that you need to be crazy. Then you have the other spectrum of, I am taking supplements and I have 20
Here's my
things,
1,000 supplements. And
and I'm like, oh my God, do you know that your liver and it can process all this? And that means that you only just discarding it and nothing binds in and nothing is actually benefiting you. So you have that, again, that extreme of again, the balance is kind of missing, or I am doing it and I'm doing it on a completely extreme level, or I'm not. Do I need to? I'll take a multivitamin. I'm like, I hear women over 50, and this is mind blowing to me, because not that I'm judging, but learning the being in health and fitness space, you gotta learn the new thing, like biohacking. What's the new thing? What's the research? Because you just never know what's new on the market that can link and help you to understand what's going on with you and give you a solution, right? So I always gotta educate myself, and I hear this women over 50, I'm taking just a multivitamin. I think that's enough. And I'm like, oh my God. Um, that explains a lot of things if you only take a multivitamin on so many levels. And it's no judgment. It's just because at that point, educating myself, if I'm in my 50s, let's say, I know that my hormones are already deep down. I'm in that aging, all of it. And then this is just the life cycle. It has nothing, this is the brackets of where we
nothing's
at.
wrong. Your body is doing what it's supposed to. You're just finding different ways to support your
Correct.
body as it's doing what it needs to do.
And then when you hear it's I only take a multivitamin, I'm like, so how you function, but you're not functioning, how you surviving?
Mhm.
No, it's just, just it's not easy. Then the next comment is not easy. You hear a lot of women, they'll not say I'm doing horrible or I'm drowning. They'll say it's not easy. I'm just stressed. I'm tired. Then another one, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And under I'm tired blanket, it's all of it. And when I hear I'm tired from women, that tells me a lot of things. That tells me that they don't want to talk about it, that they have resistance to really share where they're at.
Mhm.
That means they're going through very deep physical, emotional, mental challenges of
Mhm.
what's going on with them. Because I'm tired is a huge blanket.
Yeah.
It's a, and then it can go in any other way. But when you hear that, I hear that as a cry for help, because at that point you're not only confused, what you mentioned before, you're completely underwater. You
Yeah.
are Safety vest is not there. Where is it? Where I am? I'm just deep in it and I don't know what to do. I'm in the standstill, complete freeze mode. And that is scary to me. That is very scary to hear women being there. It's disempowering. It's, as a woman, it feels, I mean, it's just you want to cry. You want to cry for them because to get there, it requires a lot of setbacks. Like you just keep going, and just drowning and drowning. And how we stop this? I mean, by educating, how
Mhm.
we stop this, by offering solutions, like
Do you just
small,
seek out support?
talking about it and talking about it. That's exactly what we do now. We're talking about it,
Because when
right?
you're overwhelmed and in pain or exhausted, or you're in that dorsal vaga shutdown of the nervous system, but when we are in this state of nervous system shutdown, of complete overwhelm, of drowning, the last thing that you want to do is add in more things. But that's the only way out of it.
Yes.
It
Yes. So true.
like you have to do some, if what you're doing isn't working, you have to do something. So finding
Something
the right
different.
support. I think
Something
that you don't
different.
go again.
Yeah. Something different. And I think that's the problem. A lot of women, they're afraid to try something different.
Yeah.
Goes back to that fear of unknown. But everything what you did, if you already exhausted all your solutions and all your little tricks that you did, that means you got to do a change. And we know change is hard.
Yeah.
That's a journey that we all are embarking every day because there's no other way. Our seasons are changing. We
Mm-hmm.
got to accept that they're changing, but how we can not only survive in the season, how we can thrive and function in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that doctor with those pills, the magical pills that you feel so lovely right now and loving because you're so intoxicated by what it gives because shuts down all those neurotoxins. So I don't feel this, I don't feel that, I don't feel that, but I feel like I'm in the sky and everything is great. It's chemically induced. It's not real. You putting yourself from really experiencing your life fully into this irreality that you created because you cannot cope with the pain and suffering that you're going through. I mean, how deep is that? And that's very hard. Like to
Yeah.
get yourself in front of that screen and say, hey, this is a problem and this is where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that takes a lot of courage. So for any women out there who went through it and took the courage, please share your experience because you had the courage. And not saying that women are not courageous, but some women, it takes them a little bit longer to get there. Let's urge the bravery that we can overcome this, whatever that is. And overcome, that doesn't mean that I come on top and I know what's going on with me. It changes. As soon as you know and you got it right, it flips again on you. But how you accepting and just keep having that bravery and the courage. Hey, this is what's going on with me. Is anything that, you can help me? What do you think? Have you experienced this? Ask the questions. Have the courage, ask the question.
Yeah.
Simple. Simple.
Have the courage and also find the spaces where those conversations are happening. Like if you
Yeah.
like, if your best friend isn't open to that conversation, like that's okay. People move at their own pace. We all have our own backgrounds and traumas and comforts and discomforts, but
Right.
find spaces and people that you can have these conversations with, that you
Yeah,
can.
I think so. I love talking about the childbirth is something that is a great segue here because it's so
Mhm.
important, giving life and everything else. But I embrace young women because, as a young woman, a mom when I was in my timeline, um, you have all this mommy and me, mommy and child like groups. I mean, I love those groups because in those groups, we come as a women and we share
Yeah.
and we urge ourselves and we brave and we talk about nasty things that people don't want to hear, but we need to because that is our experience. It has this beauty, but in that moment has its own challenges. And it's like I love that we have those groups, but as soon as our kids move to toddler or they go preschool, that is lost. So women are having that support. I feel like we got it so right in that timeline for any woman that is going through. They always want to be in those, mommy and me groups. I've been in it. It was amazing experience. Like, I mean, the love that I got, the tips, the encouragement. I mean, I couldn't do it as a new mom, right? So I love it. But after like our kids hit preschool, women go silent. Then they're like isolating
You're on your own
themselves.
again.
Yeah, they're isolating themselves. They want to be this new normal. They go back to work, more work or whatever the new lifestyle looks like. And they're just drowning and they're in silence and they're drowning. Then they go to different groups and girlfriends and things. And then we never connect. We never deeply connect. The only time we connect is because of our children. You know how insane this is? That we even sacrifice our well-being, and the only reason we do it because we do it for our children. We're not doing it for ourselves. That's how crazy it is. So again, we are not supporting ourselves. And that's mind blowing to me. It took me a long time to understand that we only come in times when we do it and sacrificing for children or partners, anything that's going on in our life. But you see,
Something outside of us.
yes, outside of us, always the caregiver, always the nurturer. How is to flip the script? I am my own caregiver. I am my own nurturer. Why we're so afraid of opening up that door? And that's very crazy to me. Why we're so afraid opening that door of empowering ourselves to be our own caregiver and nurturer.
Yeah. And realizing that we're worth that it's worth investing time, energy, and money into our health and well-being.
Yes. Yes.
That
I mean, this is
it'll,
such a golden nugget of powerful message. And I wish more and more women, I'm sure they are. I believe me, it's more and more I hear the conversation. So I'm not saying that everything is not black anymore. It's gray in different tones of gray, but
Mhm.
it's more and more nuggets of white. And it's like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, we're coming out of it. We're coming out of it. Yeah.
Community is so important. Connection is so important. Sharing your story is important. And yeah, I think it's part of both of our missions to create spaces and to have these conversations and to empower women to really listen to their bodies and to thrive, to function, to do the things that they need to do and to do them well, to get support before they're in extreme pain or discomfort. And also knowing that sometimes pain and discomfort are unavoidable. Like those are things that will happen in life. And so
Yes.
developing a toolbox is something that I talk to my clients a lot about. It's like when you are in these times of stress or pain, what's in your toolbox? Do you have breathing exercises? Do you have, essential oils? Do you have like bath salts? Do you have like it depends what they're coming up against. But I think it's so important to have these resources ready and support systems that you can lean on.
Right. And I think we are, again, not educated, not taught, not supported by our mothers because our mothers have such a deep wound of trauma,
Yeah.
wound and wounds of trauma that they collected from their generations and they just pass it to us. And here you go, child. I'm giving you all this beautiful trauma that you can just carry on you. And you even don't know that it's not even yours and you keep carrying it through your lifetime. And
Yeah.
that includes also the hormonal issues. A lot of women carry the hormonal issues from their mothers because their mothers never knew about it. They
Mm-hmm.
were, physically aggressively imbalanced in so many
Oh,
ways.
yeah.
The times that they lived in, and women, it's like, wait, it's not your fault. Wake up. It's not your
Your
fault.
fault. And it wasn't our mothers or our grandmother's fault either. Like they were doing what they could with what they had. Like if I think about the timelines and the ancestry, like the fact that you and I can be on the internet talking about these things right now and not be burned alive, that's not how history has been. Like what we're doing here is revolutionary. And even the fact like you and I were like, oh, we go to the doctor and like they're offering us a pill and we're like, that sucks, but also that wasn't offered to the women that came before us. Some in the nearer generations, mother, maybe grandmother, but not in the same way that they are now. So we're continuing, well, we're not at this like perfect precipice of healthcare and female hormone support. Like things are shifting and we're able to have these conversations without putting our
Yes.
health or our safety in in jeopardy. Like we can do this.
Yeah, and we gotta be open. We gotta
Mhm.
have courage
Yes,
and the
it's
bravery to
work.
have the conversations and try things. Just try things. You don't need to try it and set this unrealistic goals because, I'm coming from the fitness space.
Yeah.
The first thing that every woman will tell you, I want to look slimmer and I want to look like my picture in my 20s where I got married. And I said, I'm listening and I'm like, having a laugh. And I'm like, we'll never look like we're 20s, but we can enhance where you're at right now and
Yeah.
build this new version of you because you'll not. That's the past. That's done. I mean, if you reminiscent to that person who was 10, 15 years ago, you are again just lying to yourself and lying to yourself in a very bad thing because you're setting your unrealistic expectations, creating all this pressure to yourself. That means you feel unworthy. And the only worth that you felt for yourself was that 20 or 15 years ago. And that's so sad. Again, it just has every time it's like this, like, it's this transmuting and it's this conversation, it's this shift of mindset that you do. Words have power. And yeah, you that was not your golden years or whatever you think. Like and
Mhm.
now you're in the best form, shape, energy, everything that you've been because you always create, you always are evolving and it's changing seasons. So
Mhm.
no longer reminiscing of that old times, whatever that because somebody told you that, or you told that to yourself, the story that you told to yourself. So that's
Mhm.
very, not setting those unrealistic goals and being real to yourself. I mean, having that real conversation with yourself first, because you
Mhm.
gotta have, because you can have, I can have a real conversation with you, but if I'm not real to myself when I'm in my,
Mhm.
my silent personal space, I am still avoiding, I'm in that avoidant pattern, you'll never go to the root cause because you don't want to go to the root cause. That means you just want to massaging the exterior, and massaging the
Mhm.
exterior, you can do the Botox, you can put the hair liner, you can change the color of line, you can go and do the tanning, you can do a lip filler, you can do a crier, you can do whatever. But if you're broken inside and it's not, nothing is functioning, you in survival mode, that is again a temporary fix. And
Mhm.
women, for some reason, I don't know who taught us or who indoctrinated us that we need all these short fixes, like we
Yeah.
need them. It's mandatory for us to feel worthy and beautiful and
Mhm.
desirable. There's like 3 magazines and some kind of reality shows. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why.
Why? And as I'm hearing you speak to all these things, it's bringing me back to the mirror exercise that you were talking about, like this practice of just, if I'm understanding the way that you practice it, you stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself and you find at least one thing, if not more, that you love about yourself.
Yes.
Like instead of this tendency where it's easier for most women to look in the mirror and find what they don't like. But how can you develop these skills and practices to deepen your connection with your body so that you know your worth, you know your body, and you don't feel the need to look like you're 20 when you're not 20?
Validation, yeah, that validation. How you develop. I mean, that's a very, again, I'll go in my fitness, I'll put my fitness coach hat and I'll say it depends.
Uh-huh,
It
yeah.
word is a very powerful word. Why? Because it depends, because deeply down, you know yourself, and I can offer you a huge toolkit, resources over resources. You need to connect with the resource that speaks to you the loudest.
Mhm.
So, like you said, some people like to be in nature more. So go in nature, be in nature. If nature is your, holistic modalities, let's run away from fixed pill, like holistic modalities. If you connect with the nature and you like the walks, walk more. How simple is that? You feel stressed, something is going on with, if you like water, connect with the water more, elements, right? You
Mhm.
like, I mean, I tell everybody like Epsom salt bath saved my life.
So
I
good.
mean, I don't get people say, "Oh, what do you mean? Like, what is it?" I'm like, if you don't have a bathtub, I hear this, I don't have a bathtub, how I can do it. Use a bucket and put your feet in. Wash your face. There's so many small tweaks that you can do. Doesn't need to be perfect. Again, perfect, that's another word
Mhm.
that I erased it from my vocabulary. I don't use the word perfect. I only use it for work communication, when you like task perfect
Yeah.
thing. But I don't use, because it's just, it's not, it's so superficial. It's not even like realistic for what we do and how we grow and everything else. So holistic modalities like, Epsom salt, connect with water, connect with your body, listening to your body. And I hear from women, it's like, what do you mean listening to your body? I mean, let the head, the mind, the stories, the conversation that are like just are so loud right here. You feel headaches. It's like it's screaming in your ears.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you are not listening to your body. Your mind took over your body. What means you listening to your body? That means you feel it in your heart. So it's chest area, in your gut, solar plexus, talking about chakra system, like where it is, in your belly area or hips. We women trap a lot of our feelings and everything else in our hips. There's everywhere, but hips is a very important, because that's why we have so many hip issues, because we give also childbirth, but we have a lot of hip issues throughout our lifetime.
Yeah.
And everybody who I trained after 40, the hips were imbalanced. First of all, it's always right and left, whichever we favor. We always have sciatica. We also have some lower back pain
Mm-hmm.
because we're strengthening our core, which goes back to hormonal. So everything is linked. Everything is linked. And
Mm-hmm.
there's no, this is one root cause. I will eliminate everything else. Everything is linked. That's why you got to see it holistically. You got to like look at every layer and like, okay, now I understand. Then you get another layer of understanding and another one. And that's just, they build and build the building blocks of this you new wellness that you want to create as you kind of
Mm-hmm.
move life and your journey. So holistic ways, like what are you attracted to sound? We both love sound. We do things. Are you attracted to movement? You're doing yoga and that's something that you love to do. I mean, how many women are still afraid of doing yoga poses, like just being flexible? And they will say again, blanket, I'm not flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And again, again, have you tried more? More means like more than once.
Uh-huh.
Maybe at least try it for 14 days or 21, the
Mm-hmm.
21 days. At least try it for a month. I
Yeah.
mean, it's simple. A month,
Mm-hmm.
30 days. Again, like the same thing. Weights, a lot of women, it's like I'm not into weights. I don't want to get bulky, because I'll pick up a 10 pounds and I'll get bulky. No
So,
way, never do. But I mean, you can do it 30 days and at least see how you shape your shoulders.
mhm.
You'll not be having the six packs, but you can do so many other things. And plus, it boosts your testosterone level and your
Yes.
progesterone. So guess what? You'll be more sharp,
Mm-hmm.
dealing better with the stress, because
Yep.
stress is a thing. Like, you will be dealing better with stress. So you'll not just collapse if you have any stressors coming to you, internal or external. What else? Other holistic modalities, energy work. I do energy work. I'm a Reiki master practitioner. You do some. I'm not sure if it's the same. Reiki is like whatever. Tap in, explore.
Mm-hmm.
Some explore. Acupuncture. How many women? I'm really happy. I hear a lot of women going more and more trying to just try
Yeah.
cupping, acupuncture,
Mm-hmm.
massages, soul therapy, soul caves. Like,
So
I,
good.
I'm so excited. I'm like, wow, this is so good. At
Mm-hmm.
least try it, because you just never know one of those experiences. And if you do it, you try it and it works for you, you can continue, then it can change your life.
Mm-hmm.
And be one of the solutions there are there for you.
Yeah.
It's a form
There's a
of
lot of trial and error, is what I'm
yeah,
hearing. A lot of
yeah.
trial and error.
And again, I know everybody wants a quick fix. They all want
Mm-hmm.
this, like, let me give you a prescription. This is your prescription. I mean, why should I do that to you? Because I'm disempowering you if I give you a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just telling you what to do when you follow the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that. But where is your responsibility in it? Where is your courage to really dive deep and take care of yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A deep call for bravery. And I appreciate all the different modalities that you listed. And like you said, there's so many more of just these explorative, holistic modalities to support your body. And it's likely not going to be one thing, like there's not like one answer. It's a combination of
Yes.
different practices, tools, teachers, spaces.
Also, they change throughout the lifetime. They
Yeah.
change, like what worked 6 months ago may not work
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
And they change because you need something more of other.
Mm,
And like breath work is so essential. I'm sure I again, it goes back to just being in that survival mode that I've been my lifetime, because I need to go, 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 do, be my masculine energy, take care of it, take care of it, take care of it. Never focused. Maybe I had moments, but I was not so much aware of it. And I didn't realize how much we just not aware of our and taking for granted the breath work and breathing,
mhm.
and how you'll see how women are hyperventilating. I already know
All the
when
time.
I just feel their chest just combulating.
Mhm,
And I was like, hey, they're in anxiety. They're just, and when you breathing through your chest, that means you're in that mind, fight and flight
mhm,
mode. That's your autopilot. If you are always breathing through your chest and you feel pressure, there's more
mhm,
pressure, you have pain, shoulder, it just all connects. So you're disconnecting from your lower body, but everything happens in your chest. That's a no-no. You know that you're not functioning. You're still
mhm.
okay. We're
Thriving.
shifting the mindset.
Mhm,
And when you choose to really fill up your belly, really be, really breathe through your belly and really take that in. Oh my God, the change that is happening. We just did this at the beginning of this talk, and like every time I even have a conversation with a woman, let's start with the breath work. Let's do
mhm.
this 5 breaths.
Yeah,
Close your eyes, and they're like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like, I was just, I had so many things going on today,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh my God, now I can think and feel for myself. I'm here. And I was like, wow,
Mm. Yeah, we
how
aren't taught to breathe.
much that is.
It's breath work can be so simple and
Yes,
so impactful.
yes,
Just
yes.
really learning how to breathe and how that taps us into different states of the nervous system. Because breath is something that's happening all the time, whether we're thinking about it or not. And so if your default is, yeah, that sympathetic fight or flight nervous system, and you're one of those people who shallow chest breathes all the time, you're walking around just like, your natural state's going to be more towards anxiety. But if you teach your body to breathe deeply, you get more into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, and teach your body how to slow down. You increase lung capacity, you tone the vagus nerve. Like there's so many benefits to breathing.
Right. Yeah.
Katya, is there anything else that you would like to
I think we just
share?
like explore different things, and
Yeah.
that's like, and share more and more. It's about, I think, the keywords, and I want this to stuck with this episode with everybody who's following. And I'll finish up with a little bit about myself, but the big words is stop surviving. Let's
Mm,
function and thrive. You deserve it. You deserve it. Let's be brave and courage and share where we at. Let's stop suffering in silence and taking responsibility for our wellness. I promise you, I have my story. You want to read about it, you want to connect with me personally, I'll change. I know it's intimidating. Believe me, as a woman, I hear powerful stories and it's intimidating because what you think in your deep with yourself is say, oh my God, I'll never be able to get there, or I am not deserving. Yes, you are. Whatever your story is, it doesn't mean to be grand. There's no less or more. It's your story, and your story is powerful, and you are the hero in your own journey. So take the reins and become the hero and stop being the victim. And that's the message that's been kind of circulating, and it goes in the subject that you are very passionate, that you educated people about. We are all women, we are all birthing life. Why we are not nurturing ourselves?
mhm,
We're not more open. And I challenge you, for the second or third question that you interact with anybody, ask them, where you are in your cycle? Hey,
mhm,
heard this new cool at this podcast. Let's talk about it. It's like, where you are in your cycle? And then you'll like this whole like whatever persona you put in will just flood away, and you'll be you, and you'll feel so much comfortable in your skin. You'll have a great conversation. You even can have it with at your workplace. Why we're so ashamed? Like, I will tell my boss, hey, I am in that time. I know. And it's okay. I mean, they more respect you to talk about it. There's no stigma there. It's where we are all going through. So start. I'm sharing it. I want you to start it. I'm challenging you. And I think this is a nutshell of,
Mhm.
talking about the subject and being here with you.
Amazing. And Katya, what are you currently offering and where can people find you?
Wow, that's what I currently offer. A lot of things, but you can find me at www.bodystrongvibes.com. That is my beautiful oasis of fitness, health, and wellness, where I do all body, mind, and spirit. So I have fitness packages, I do energy work, and everything that. So if you go my page, you can book a 30 minutes free discovery. I do 30 minutes because I really want to deeply connect with people who are ready to make that change and need that help and they need capacity. And I do that, and there's many offerings over there. So that's something that you want to connect or hear more about my story, visit my Instagram. I'm on and off, more active, not because that's what life is.
Mm,
At Katya Taurus. And yeah, I mean, really connecting body mind is very important aligning, and I think hormones will give you the signals that will tell you when your body and mind is not connected and they're in a completely misalignment. And as you add into it and deepen your journey of where you at or who you are at deep core, you'll connect with your spiritual team, with your spirit, and with your soul blueprint. And this is something very important that we are right now in. And I invite everybody to be open to explore all that. And thank you for asking me to be here. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to hear more and see where this takes us.
yes, me too. All right. Thank you so much, Katya. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. If you enjoyed it, it would mean the absolute world to me if you'd share it with someone else that you think would like it, or leave a review. You can learn more about our guest by reading the notes below. And if you want to learn more about me, my one-on-one coaching, my memberships, or my online courses, you can learn more at mysticfemininefertility.com or Mystic Feminine Fertility on TikTok and Instagram. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.